decided to document my podcast journey, y'all. I feel that it's important, not just the final result, but the process. Hey everybody, this is Salam. Thanks for listening to this. I really appreciate you. Yeah, so my husband had this idea because I've been working on starting a podcast, and he said, well, why don't you just document your process of trying to start a podcast? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I should do that, because that probably will help me learn a lot more than just researching. So, it'll be a way to like test like stuff out. Plus it also just creates content that I could have, but also hopefully people will find interesting too. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so far what I have is, so I've done a lot of research, and let me think about this. Okay, so initially I started doing these phone conference community meetings starting like March, and now we're in July, so about 3 months ago. To be exact, 15 weeks ago I started doing this, and we've been doing it every single week since. So the cool thing about that is that we have been able to not only reach kind of like some of the most vulnerable people in our community, but also get a chance to kind of practice our speaking skills and communication skills and all that, which is awesome. So with that though, I would say that this is not the first time I wanted to start a podcast. I think I've had the idea of starting a podcast a while back, but just didn't really have a clear idea of like why I would do it and what would be the benefit for me. And so now I have a better sense of like what I'm trying to accomplish, which is like, establish myself more as a I guess subject matter expertise, but also just like a little bit more of my personal brand. And my hope is that will contribute to my professional growth, and hopefully through that is also my financial growth too. So I'm hoping that I could get more, be recognized for being more of an expert, rather than just like running a program. And I think that work doesn't always help me showcase like my skill sets or my thoughts, what I want to express, because it's like, a lot of the time you feel like you're running other people's mission and you don't always get to have a say in the things you do, especially when we're working for such a large institution like I do. So I was hoping this will allow me to have more freedom to explore and to like share those parts of myself that hopefully is going to feed into getting me better, more mission and financially better aligned jobs in the future. Whether those jobs are actually like jobs where I'm hired as a full-time person, or whether those jobs are gonna be more of a independent contracting kind of work, right? So I don't know that yet, but I just know that that's my hope, is to get hired, to get paid, to be recognized for the work that I do. So that being said, there's many ways that I could go about that, because I have experience in public health, community engagement, community organizing, that type of a thing, So that's that. So at least now I have the why, which is great, and I also have the experience of actually doing this every single week for the last 15 weeks, which is actually a lot of experience. And not only was I able to like do that, I actually just like, I pretty much single-handedly built the whole entire thing, and then invited other people to be part of it as like podcasting is actually in a way easier because I don't have to like start from zero. Podcasts have so much already structured around them that it's, I don't know, it's kind of, it's easier. So it's like, that's one thing that's going for me. The other is I'm getting a lot of experience with this program already doing interviews. So, I mean, of course, they're interviews focused on issues related to COVID-19, but they are still community conversations that are important and relevant, like mental health, or, you know, how does, like in the US, how does creating a vaccine and what does that process look like, and what should we be aware of, what should we be cautioned about, and all of those types of things. Like, or like misinformation, how to think about misinformation, things like that. So I think, you know, I'm very excited. And I thought about this and I'm like, well, I also have expertise, so, and I have the platform. So part of what I'm thinking is like, some weeks I will have guests, you know, and that will be cool. But then some guests I won't have guests because it's actually a lot to get guests. It's quite a process. So, you know, when we don't have guests, then I can present on a particular topic, which is, you know, again, not about being an expert, but just being able to speak on something, research it, and talk about it in a way that is accessible to our community. So I just feel like I'm already doing a podcast. Like, I'm already doing a podcast, and more, you know, but there's definitely a chunk of the thing I do on Sunday that is really like a podcast. The only part that's different is I'm not as worried about packaging it and trying to like get it in front of a lot of people. And part of that is because the issues that we were talking about were so intense and so individual for people that we kind of needed to focus more. It's like one-on-one, whoever came, we helped them out kind of situation. But with this, there is so it's slightly different, but very much aligned and similar in many ways as a podcast. So I think that, you know, we have to think about a poster or a flyer for the event, and then how do we like do that, and how do we highlight, and how do we get that in front of people, you know, using social media, and like who are the social media ambassadors who can help us like push it out. So it's very much aligned to like how you get, you know, how do you get clout, or how do you get other people to listen to your program. So I feel like I already have a ton of experience in actually running something like a podcast, and I'm more comfortable now with my voice being recorded and my voice being shared with a really large or really small, whatever, but public setting. So I think that a lot of the things are there. I think the biggest thing for me right now is really actually just narrowing down a topic and starting, because I think what I'm finding is that, well, first of all, I have many interests, that's one, and I have many experiences, or maybe let's say several. I have several things that I feel very passionate about and have a lot of experience in. And I also feel like I'm trying to respond to the moment right now, right? Like what's happening in the moment. And also I think part of it is I'm trying to figure out, you know, I want to do something that's scalable, right? Like I don't want to do this really, really specific niche. Let's say, for example, I want to talk to Habesha people in the diaspora. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that is not really a very, very niche where, but I'm like, how big am I trying to get, right? And also going back to the why. So if I go back to the why of, you know, wanting to grow and like make money, so there's definitely a couple of ways I could go about it. I could do the Habesha stuff and still make it about social justice and stuff like that, but I could also you know, but I feel like that might not have a lot of people who would want to listen to it. But again, I guess it's okay as long as, you know, it still pushed me towards my job, my goal of getting better job or getting consulting gigs and stuff like that. So, but I think that wouldn't happen if I didn't have any clout or any like large enough audience or something. I don't know. So that's the part I think I'm not sure about, is the business aspect of it. And like, you know, how much should I give weight to like how scalable this is. But otherwise, I feel like I have all the other components in place. So right now I'm like, should I make it more towards like a habesha thing, which I can do, or should I make it more Black women and focus on like, you know, focus it on like just Black women in general, and I'm like, am I really the right person for that voice? I don't know. I just don't know. I feel a little bit uncomfortable about that because I feel like there's a lot of really beautifully spoken, smart African American women out there, and I'm just like, maybe I should make sure like just to support that voice, and then I should do more of a focus on Habesha where I feel like I have more comfortability. I don't know. So that's the part I think I'm struggling with, and yeah, so we will see how it will all work out. But I'm excited, and I'm gonna try to document my experience as we go along the way, and those experiences might include actual demos. I might actually try out one of these formats. Let's say I focus on a Habesha specific kind of podcast. Let's just get Adiam in here and we'll try what that sounds like. Maybe I'll try doing more Black women kind of focus and see how that works out too. So yeah, I don't know, we'll have to see. So yeah, but today is July 8th and it's a Wednesday, and I just got to my mom's house, and I'm about to drop a vibing and probably still work at my mom's house, I don't know, or go back to Othello depending on how the house is. If the house is really crowded and I don't have space for the an office to go sit and work, then I might have to go to my official office at the Commons. All right, talk to you guys later. Woohoo! Podcast journey!